gentlemen, the man who led France.
Ladies and gentlemen, on all of our viewers around the world, it's now time for the start of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 draw.
Qatar.
So Qatar will be going into Group A.
USA.
So the United States of America will be going into Group B with England. JJ?
B3.
Islamic Republic of Iran.
B2.
B2, so it will be an opening game fixture in Group B between England and the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Germany.
E3.
So E3 as Germany go in the same group as Spain in Group E.
Ecuador.
A2.
A2 for Ecuador. So the opening game at this year's World Cup will be between our host Qatar and Ecuador. And that concludes the draw for this evening. It really is time to get excited and to get ready for the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. 64 matches will take place. So let's take another look at the groups in full. In Group A, we have Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and the Netherlands.
And in Group B, England, Islamic Republic of Iran, USA, and the European playoff.
Group C will consist of Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland.
Group D, France, Intercontinental Playoff 1, Denmark and Tunisia.
Whilst in Group E, we have Spain, the Intercontinental Playoff 2 winner, Japan, and Germany.
Group F, Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia.
Group G is Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon.
And the last group, Group H, Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and Korea Republic.
So, I mean, it's an absolutely brilliant draw and one we're all going to be looking forward to come the end of the year. But Cafu.
All right, that's the high point of today, the 2022 FIFA World Cup draws. That's how we welcome you to the show today. Thanks once again for joining us on the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. A great day. Probably would have been greater if Nigeria had been there, but nonetheless, great occasion. The World Cup is on us. The teams know their foes, and we just can't wait.
Spotty greetings to you wherever you are in the world watching us in London. I'm Austin Okonakpan. Yemi, I felt I was a bit clueless. That's the way I could describe the feeling, when Austin JJ Okocha was, picking those cards and no Nigeria, in that mix. I didn't like how I felt, but I couldn't just describe it. I said, the World Cup is upon us and the Super Eagles of Nigeria are missing. It would have been good if they were there, but it is what it is. The show must go on. We've seen the draw. And I think it was a fairly good draw. You can actually predict it. I think Senegal can easily come out of that Group A, but it is a tricky group for Ghana.
Yeah, of course, as we discussed this, there's no way we will not go back and forth on the fact that Nigeria should have been there. Even the organizers, a lot of people will tell you from from everything that happened today, they probably thought Nigeria was going to be there. Yeah. But it is what it is. And of course, we have to move on. 29 teams in the draw. 3 teams will join them by the end of June. Because, of course, you heard Jermaine Jenas and his co-hosts talking about intercontinental playoff 1, playoff 2, and of course, the other playoff from Europe. So we already know 29 teams, 3 we'll join them later, and it is going to be very interesting. So our job tonight is to take a look at the groups. Of course, our hearts and minds with the African teams, and of course we're hoping that probably in Qatar we can go beyond that quarterfinal mark that has been sort of our bus stop, if I want to put it that way. Since Cameroon did it in 1990, others have not been able. Senegal has gotten there 2002, Ghana in 2010, but no African team has been able to get beyond that. And of course, you already know an Asian team has been able to get to the semi-final, so it would be good if Africa gets that. So that is it. And so I love what I saw. Even before we talk about the draws, I think we should talk about the notable football figures that were there. And very interesting. Before I get into that, I saw some faces that it's been a while I've seen them. Let's bring Alfred Okoligbe into all of this. Greetings to you, Alfred. Thanks for finding out time to be with us on the show. We can't moan anymore. The draws have been done. Nigeria is not there. So we have to move on. In spite of the fact that this is the first time we're having this conversation after what happened. Thanks once again for joining us. But your thoughts?
I'm delighted to be here as usual, Yemi. I'm very willing to see Austin and, of course, to the US. And like you said, we have to move on. But sometimes you move on and you ask yourself, move on to where? If the vibe coming from the football house is anything to go by, you just imagine. For some of us, it will just mean that it's same of the same. When you say move on, if there are no clear structures for us to move on to, no clear plans where we are moving to, then it becomes a cause of worry. Then, as always, you always want to go back to refer to some of the things that we didn't do right. I recall when the final list was released for this match and went on and on about the way we've shut the door to a lot of players, a lot of people who we thought could have added value to that team. There's no team that have won laurels for Nigeria that is made up entirely foreign-based players. None. It is still the 1994 squad and, of course, the 2013 squad that won the AFCON the last time in South Africa. There's none that have won it entirely with the foreign legion. And some of them do not understand what it really means to play the West African derby. Now increasing the Jollof derby. And you can see from the mentality that it was just there. So we have to move on. Yes, we have to move on, but move on to where? The signs indicative of where we're moving to. That's a big worry for some of us.
All right. That's a worry.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Alfred, there must be some movement. It means we cannot stay where this disappointment has kept us as a country as regards our football, So they must just find a way to pick themselves back up, particularly with purposeful planning now, with long-term planning. Enough of the talks. Let's get into action with some of the recommendations that we've had. Each time I hear of a new committee being set up, I just like, what are we doing? Are we still joking? There's been loads of recommendations from the days of Solomon Dalong. What am I even saying? I'm Dana Gogo, So let's go back to some of those things that made sense and find a way to start implementing. We talk too much. It's time for action, deliberate planning, So that's the way to pick ourselves back up and start moving, because it would be such a shame that we miss out of the World Cup and then our football still stays where it is. A lot of questions have been asked about the age group, teams. This is time to focus. Alfred, I've explained to you why the league isn't winning, why we will not be seeing players in the league, because we have just a selling league. We have a league where people just want to play football and aspire to leave after one season. Let's start thinking about building from bottom to the top. Let clubs start owning young players that we can see grow through the ranks. This boy played for Aqua United when he was 15. At 22, he's still with Aqua. Then Austin, Alfred, and Yemi can go on and fight and say, we've seen this guy play good football. We've seen this guy grow with the club. He deserves a place in the team. Meanwhile, he would have gotten a chance to maybe play at under 17 level, play at under 20 level, and maybe go to the Olympics. So if he doesn't play for the Super Eagles and is that good, then we'll ask questions. Not a league where people just play one season. We know that age is catching up on them and they quickly just want to go to Macedonia, go to Bangladesh and just play football. That's where we should sit down now and start thinking about doing those things, Alfred. And when we start doing those things and we see progress, then we can tell that, yes, now we mean business. And that football business environment that we always shout, this is the time to put words into action.
Austin, can I come a bit there? We talked about some of the factors working with the local league being a selling league. And I asked the question, who have been entrusted, which body has been entrusted with the responsibility of developing football? I mean, both at the club level and the football ecosystem itself is the FA. Now, let me tell you, if you leave it to the clubs alone, it becomes a problem. If we have the roadmap as drawn up by the Nigerian Football Federation, whose primary responsibility is to develop football in Nigeria, and it covers both, and we've seen it. We've seen the way the Nigerian Football Federation has handled, especially things that have to do with leadership of the LMC, of the clubs themselves, of organizing the league. Now, if you have a system where it is deliberate, the FA now says, okay, you know what? This is the direction we are going to go. We are going to empower clubs. We are going to ensure that the development money we will get will be put into clubs. And that is to develop the ecosystem of the local league, get things working, put structures on ground, and force them to say, okay, these are the rules. The rules are that you are going to have development teams for all strata, the under 12, under 15, documented. The word documented, regulated, followed, calibrated. You are sure of what everybody is doing. Now the club will fall into line. Well, it's actually still dismissive. Now you say, why are they selling club? They are selling club because at the end of the day, players who think in their heads they are good enough have nothing to aspire to.
I get you. I get where you're coming from, Alfred. Alfred, I like where you're coming from. That's where I'm coming from too. But I'm just saying that these states have a lot of work to do. So if the NFF is probably not putting structure, you own the club. You know, anybody is so sure that every season they will sell players, they will make money. And for them, that's what it is. So they don't care. They don't care whatever.
But the point is, if the FA, you advise. It's like providing by policies showing direction. This is where we're going, and we're going to follow you through. Why you say you leave it to the club? The clubs themselves, they develop. They want to make returns on investment, and they know that their best players cannot have the opportunity.
Take us back to the World Cup draw. We love our football too much.
No. You have started it, and I'm going to say something as well. What I would want is a merit-based system that is virtually non-existent in Nigeria. Even he talked about having a blend of home-based professionals and players plying their trade abroad. The few times we've called players from the domestic league, can anybody beat their chest and say this is the best in the league? That's the problem. Across board, things must be done on merit. And once we get to that point, things will start, it's like you're sifting wheat and shaft. The good things will stay, the bad ones will move away. And look, this current board of the NFF focused more on the national team to the detriment of every other. It was like, let's just take the national team and every other thing can go to waste. And that's why I agree with Alfred. If we are deliberate about it, we don't need to have 20 clubs, for instance. If 6 teams can meet up to the standard by all means, let's have the 6 teams and let's start from there. 2 years ago, I think, when during the height of COVID, and the minister said we're going to start this league, blah blah blah, and we were happy. Only for us to get back to the situation where we have these 20 clubs in Nigeria Professional Football League, and this is the nursery. You cannot grow football if you ignore football on the domestic scene. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And aside creating an environment where players can aspire to something, there must also be the incentive for people to want to put their money in football. For instance, if I want to buy a club, we're accusing Nigerian businessmen of wanting to buy Arsenal. If I want to buy him, can you just tell me what I'm going to get from it? We are journalists. None of you can tell me what the club, the amount of money the club that wins the league gets. I'm very sure if you snap your fingers, you can't give me that information. Those are the issues. Those are the issues. Now I've spoken, we can go to the FIFA World Cup draw, because I know if we start, we will not finish. So let's go to the FIFA World Cup draw.
Yeah.
All right.
We're on the same page. We love our football, and it's the passion that we're expressing. Let's go back to the World Cup draw so Alfred can, have his take. Let's see the groups from Group A to H. The draw has been concluded, and as Yemi said, we love African teams, so we'll be focusing on some of the African teams. What I've said that I'll pay close attention to Ghana. When I saw their group, I was like, "Whoo, let's see how Ghana, we get out of this one." In Group A, there's Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and the Netherlands. In Group B, we have England, Iran, the United States of America. It's one of those draws that we're waiting for between Scotland, Ukraine, and Wales. Group A and B for the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Let's see Group C, but after a while, we'll wait for Group C to come up. No worries for Senegal in Group A. In Group C, there's Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. Group D has got France. We're still waiting to see if it's Australia, the United Arab Emirates, or Peru that will complete Group D. There's also Denmark and another North African team, Tunisia. Draws for the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Alfred, I wanted to, Group E, there's Spain, waiting to know if it's either Costa Rica or New Zealand that will join the other guys. There's Germany and there is Japan. In Group F, Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. In Group G, there's Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. Another tricky group for an African team. And this is the group I said I have my focus on. Group H, that has got Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and Costa Republic. So, Alfred, here we have it. Group A to H for the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Do you worry for Ghana?
I'm not worried. There's an opportunity to avenge what happened to them. Uruguay eliminated them from the World Cup in very, very controversial circumstances. We would have been talking about Ghana as the first team to get to the last four of the Mundial until Luis Suarez and his teammates had to do the things that are in the books and outside the books to eliminate them from the World Cup. So an opportunity to see if they will pay them back in their own coin. But it's a bit of a world story. Portugal, European team against African team. Sometimes you look at it, that's where sometimes the gulf in competence might just show. But this Ghanaian team have shown that they want to play, they are determined, they want to go together. And with the experience of someone like Thomas Partey, he led from the front, especially when they played against Nigeria, just showed that they can only get better. And so, because it's an African team, I want to, just put a hedge on them, just be with them for this tournament. Anybody, any African, in fact, the entire African team to get my support in this tournament, because at the end of the day, how well you do will help in if there are going to be changes in the number of teams participating in the World Cup. It will help in the bargaining to get more teams to the World Cup. And once the probability increases, your chances of going to the World Cup
Yeah.
increase. So for that reason, I want to support the African team because the truth is that if we can get two teams to the semi-finals, then Africa will have a
All
say
right.
in terms of redistribution of teams that make it to the Mundial.
All right, we need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we'll still be on the matter. The FIFA 2022 World Cup, the draws have been concluded. The teams now know their opponents. So we'll come back after this break to talk some more, especially on the African teams. All right, welcome back. We're still talking about the draws for the FIFA World Cup, and Alfred was making his point. We talked about Senegal, and he also talked about the other African teams. Senegal is in Group A, by the way. They're going to be facing Qatar, Ecuador, and the Netherlands. I know you've talked about it already, but which of these games do you think is winnable for Senegal?
Well, the Qatar game is. Against once it's not the top teams from Asia, Qatar may have won the Asian Championship, but it can be a tricky time, given that they are the host nation. The pressure of being the host, so that they definitely have something going for them. But as African champions, we expect them to do well. The Ecuador game is something that African teams tend to struggle against South American opposition. But you look at Ecuador, you might not rank them as one of the best. Coming Brazil, Argentina. Talking about them in the same breath, and that just is possible. So, as African champions, the responsibilities that they have, that of representing us well. We know that when it comes to big competitions like this, especially World Cup, African teams, last edition, almost everybody got eliminated in the first round. Not a good testament to how well we've done, how well we've come. The Senegalese team is populated by players who ordinarily would have played for France. What's his name? The captain of the team who played for Koulibaly, who played for Napoli, was expecting his French call-up. He didn't come. And when he told his parents that he wants to play for Senegal, that the joy that he saw in the eyes of the parents, the French team could have called him. But the joy that he got, the reaction he got from the parents when he told them finally that he wants to play for Senegal, just made him there and then make up his mind, okay, Senegal, I'm going to. And so for so many other players like him. So you look at the players who ordinarily have been developed in, Clairefontaine, where French football, their incubation base, where they turn out very great footballers. So for them, it is something that team is number one team, number one ranked team on the continent. They are the African champions, and so you expect them to go out there. If there's any team that has a weight of expectation to their name, is Senegal. So playing in Group A is a group that has the host, and of course, not one of the strongest teams. You expect them to come out of that group.
All right. Before I pass the baton to Austin, we've been talking about Ghana and Senegal, but we have 5 African teams. So which other teams do you think could give Africa the quality representation that all of us are hoping for?
Well, in the 80s, the Africans ride in the World Cup used to be won by the North Africans, Morocco. We saw what Morocco did in 1986 World Cup. This time they are the same group, I think, with Belgium. But ever since, sometimes when the North Africans come against the general position, they seem to, there is that physicality that is the secret of African football. Sometimes they do not have it. So they want to go with the style and the technique. And when it comes to the technique and the philosophy of the game, these Europeans just find a way of neutralizing them. So it is difficult for the two African teams, for the two North African teams, Morocco and Tunisia. If they make it out of the group, it will be a huge achievement for them. And so that is no surprise that we're talking about teams from the West from West Africa, because sometimes that's where when it comes to power, flair, skills, and the rest of them, that's where we really excel at that level. So for the non-Africans, they will really pleasantly surprise me if they make it out of the group stage.
You worry for North African teams. I worry for West African teams. So let's take a look at Group G, where we've got Cameroon. They have Brazil, Serbia, and Switzerland. Any hope for Cameroon in that group?
That's a tough group because we talk about the Swiss they have a very solid team, very very solid team that they kept together for a long time. And Brazil, you know what Brazil comes with? The skills, they know this. They are the masters of this. The only team to have qualified for all editions of the World Cup. The Brazilians are no pushover when it comes to the World Cup, and so I think Cameroon has the packed against them. But you know the Cameroonian team, sometimes they play like the Nigerian team. When you don't expect so much, we saw how they managed to replicate Nigeria's achievements at the Olympics. The likes of Samuel Eto'o, Patrice Mboma, and the rest of them. They played Spain in the finals of the Olympic Games, and they got replicated the same results achieved by Nigeria. So it's not as they passed this stuff before. We know that at certain times in the competition scope, Cameroon has beaten Brazil. So it's not as if they've not come against oppositions like this. But I think the combination of Serbia, Switzerland, and Brazil might just be overreaching themselves. Like, hey, is this an African team? With Samuel Eto'o as the president of the FA, you know, somehow that kind of relationship that he has with Rigobert from these are teammates. These are the Okochas and JJs of our football. One is taking care of administration, the other one is taking care of the technical aspect. And we have that kind of combination here. So the players that play for Cameroon have something to look forward to. They have somehow a larger than life image of who they can be tomorrow. Is it the FA president? They can aspire to those positions. Is it the coach of the team? They can achieve that guys who are serial winners. During their playing days. So the players really know that when they tell them that these things are achievable, they can believe these guys in authority because these guys have passed through this stuff before. The same cannot be said of our football, especially at the administrative end of it. Sometimes the people that come through, you ask yourself, hey, where are these guys really in crucible of playing this game at close quarters, knowing how these things work? We've not had the luck of having these guys come through.
That's part of what I was talking about, that we need to pick ourselves back up and move beyond where we are. Last night on the show, we listened to Gianni proposal for the Biennial World Cup. And we're wondering, really, Infantino, because we knew at some point that FIFA was interested in the Biennial World Cup. And Didier Drogba is saying, we want the Biennial World Cup because it's Africa, but expanding our football. Let's listen to Drogba. I'll be right back.
Have a lot of chances of winning the World Cup when you only have five teams in how many? 5 out of how many teams? I think 32 or 42. So when you look at the math, it's almost impossible. So we need to have more teams, more African teams in the competition, which will give us a bit more chances to go through the quarterfinal or semi-final or the final. Look at Europe; I think they've got 12 representatives and the other continents as well. So I would love things to move forward and more teams, more African teams to be represented, and I think it would be a big difference. Yeah, I think it's a big improvement, and this is something that should have been done a long time ago. Maybe it would have given me a chance to go to the quarter or semi-final, but now I'm really happy with the evolution of the laws of the World Cup, because you give more chances to more teams and to qualify, and also because the event is every 4 years. So you have to wait 4 years for you to qualify, and if you don't make it, it's 8 years of no big international event. So it's long. It's long. So that's why the more teams we have, the better I think it is for the competition as well and for the spectators. But I think there's one team that I will watch closely, which is Senegal, because they won the last African Cup of Nations. They're on a good draw and they're on a hike. They won against Egypt. They qualified for the World Cup as well. So this is the momentum and the competition starting in a few months. I would love to see how they will approach it compared to 2018, where it was very difficult for them. So I want to see if they learn from the last one.
All right, just like everybody, Didier Drogba seems to be tipping the Teranga Lions of Senegal to do well. But guys, I noticed something. Let me go to Alfred. I noticed that former players support the biennial World Cup plans. Current players feel that for the World Cup to be special, it should remain within the 4-year cycle. But I think the ones that have retired, in their mind, if it was 2 years, I probably would have played more. I probably could have, you could see what Didier Drogba was saying, that if you miss one, you have to wait for 4 years. You missed that 8 years out of your football playing career, you're not going to be at the World Cup.
When you say former players, for me, I think Africa has come out clearly. Especially African players have come out clearly to say they won the World Cup every 2 years, and they didn't mean what about that. Perhaps maybe players in Europe, they have so much in terms of competitions, money coming in for them in football. They have the European Champions, they have the Euro League, they have the Champions League, and all of the big paying competitions. While for African teams, it's just a question of when you can make it for your national team. And the opportunity, if you have, for example, 10, 12 years career, you miss opportunity twice, like Didier Drogba is alluding to there, it becomes difficult for you. And that's the point Drogba is making there. So for African players, I think the African players wanted 2 years. Whether play or retire player, because they want that experience of going to the World Cup, an opportunity for them to show their skill and represent their country at the global level. For this European, this is all about economics. It's all about the money. At the end of the day, Europe wants to keep the money. They want it. They want their competitions to enjoy that pride of place that it still gets. All of the sponsors, and it's not a question of whether fatigue on the players or the pressure you put on the players. It's just about the money. They just want to protect their competitions and the money they're making from those competitions. That's why I think they're fighting against the World Cup being a biennial competition.
Okay, I'm very reluctant to share my thoughts, so I'll keep my thoughts to myself. I'll allow Austin take it from there, but the debates will go on, and we've not heard the last of this.
Yeah, we've not yet. I think it would be good for African football if we are actually sincere, if we've got the right administration in place, if they, clean up the documents that they're looking for to the biennial World Cup. We had Emmanuel Amunich on this show, and he tried to explain to us the different ways Africa can gain from this. And you heard Didier Drogba also talk about it, but I just don't understand the U-turn FIFA is trying to give to it. I think it's going to be good, but I know money is in the center of all of this conversation about the biennial World Cup. And until UEFA is comfortable on their share of that money, then I don't think we're ever going to have it. So that's a good place to leave the conversation. Let's bring it back home. We will not be at the World Cup, but the Nigeria Professional Football League will go on, and we've reached the business stage of the competition. So let's take a look at Matchday 20 fixtures in the NPFL, and I'm sure Alfred is pumped up for this one. Rivers United and Plateau United are having a fantastic season. It has been a fairly good season for Rangers. Aimba, maybe we pick themselves back up now in the second stanza. Aqua United also, another team that has been struggling. But let's just take a quick look at Matchday 20 fixtures. Aqua United, and what a way to get back to league football. They will be facing informed Rivers United. On Sunday, Eimba will take on Wiki Tourist. Gombe United will host Kano Pillars, the Pantami Stadium. You know Gombe United, they love you right there. Katsina United will take on Abia Warriors. Kwara United will host Tremor Stars. Struggling Low B Stars will take on Enugu Rangers that have been a fantastic side away from home. MFM will take on Heartland. Nasarawa United will play Shooting Stars. We will go against Dakada FC, while Sunshine Stars will go up against Plateau United, that is also having a good season. Alfred, easily, I know the games you're looking forward to. But what do you think? Aqua United, Rivers United?
Coach Bengayani moved from mid-season, moved from Sunshine Stars to join Aqua United. I think for me that sets the tone for what Aqua wants to do in the second part of this season. They were easily beaten by Rivers United, according to Anishak. Spoilers in that game, and so Aqua needs a response. They've been not say average. They've been struggling since Coach Kennedy Bewe left. They've been struggling, and Coach Ali came in, and the results really go their way. So they needed a change. And I think in Coach Bengayani, this was a coach that when Bengo Gumbote last season almost took Sunshine Stars to relegation, he came in, not much of a chance was given to him, but what he turned the fortunes of Sunshine Stars and made Sunshine Stars one of the better ball-playing teams. I've seen some of their games in Ijebu. They made that place a fortress. Beautiful players, and I understand he's taking some players to Aqua United. So he has to hit the ground running, because Aqua United sure needs points on their belt. Whether Rivers United will allow them to get that, it's yet to see. Rivers United are lately very, very good on the road. They've won away from home. They've the games that they couldn't win, they've drawn, and so for them it really promises to be an interesting game at the nest of champions. For a team like Heartland of Owerri, they are in Lagos to take MFM. They lost an opportunity of beating MFM in Owerri. That game ended in a draw. So whether when they come to Lagos, whether they will have the opportunity of both of them, like I said, before they played Matchday, I said this is the relegation 6 pointer. The first 3 points, they've shared the spoils, one 1 point apiece. So this second one is really going to be decisive, because any positive result for any of the teams will just help their cause to remain in the NPFL.
Alfred, it has been, if Rivers United win, Plateau United will win. So if you take a look at Matchday 20, you think we're still going to be having that sort of story?
Well, it depends on how Sunshine Stars react to the exit of Coach Bengayani. They host Plateau United. They lost the first leg of this tie in Jos. Like some of the post-match reactions I heard from that game, they were saying things like how the game was managed by referee and the rest of them. But all that is history. Ijebu-Ode is the place to be. This is one match that will test Coach Fidelis Ilechukwu and his boys. Plateau United have shown, especially with the patchy start, the way they did start too well, but when they got into their stride, it became a very difficult team to play against. Ask Rangers, and Rangers with that, they beat Rangers, one of the very few teams to take points off Rangers in Nnewi, beat them away. And so for Plateau United, for Rivers United, this is a test of what the second part of the season for both teams will look like, the kind of result, because any adverse result from both teams, and perhaps maybe a team like Rangers gets points on the board, it just means that the season, like the 2 horse race, like we say, it is just opened it up a little bit.
Beautiful. Shout out to Plateau United. Rangers picked points against Eimba, and they're actually doing so good. Let's see what the second standard will give to them. Yemi, also in the English Premier League, we'll be busy.
Yeah, we'll be busy. A lot of interesting matches. And one of the things getting us talking is the decision from next season to start having 5 subs. Some of the teams have kicked against it before, but now it appears a lot of people are on board with that decision to get 5 subs. And let's see if we can do this quickly. Let's listen to Thomas Tuchel, the Chelsea manager, speaking about his approval for that kind of decision.
Oh, it's a brilliant decision. And I mean, we were the only league who did not do it in Europe. So it's an excellent decision. And I dare to say it's an excellent decision for everybody, because I was long enough also coach of underdog teams, and I would have loved to have 5 substitutes to make more players play, to maybe increase the intensity or keep the intensity level against stronger teams if you are like an underdog team. So, and for us, in the amount of games we play until now, and the amount of competitions we play, the amount of competitions the players play when they go now to international duties, they go again in summer for Nations League. It's absolutely necessary to protect the players, to protect the quality, and to use the full potential of also tactical influences in the game. So a very, very good decision.
All right, we're going to go on a break shortly. And when we return from that break, we'll talk about the English Premier League matches to look forward to tomorrow and on Sunday. But first, we'll go for that break. We'll return to wrap things up on the show.
Channels Television, ubiquitous.
All right, welcome back. We're on the home stretch. Let's take a look at matches to be played over the weekend in the English Premier League, and we'll quickly share our thoughts on those matches. Early kickoff tomorrow, Liverpool and Watford. Jurgen Klopp wants the atmosphere to be intimidating for the opponents. Brighton will take on Norwich. Burnley will take on Manchester City. Chelsea will take on Brentford. Leeds United, rejuvenated Leeds United, will take on Southampton. Wolverhampton Wanderers will take on Aston Villa. Manchester United will take on Leicester City. These are fixtures for Saturday. And on Sunday, West Ham will take on Everton. Tottenham Hotspur will take on Newcastle United. These are the fixtures for Saturday and Sunday. All right, before I go to Austin, let me quickly go to Alfred. Probably this might be his parting shot. You look at those fixtures, and a lot of people just want to hear whatever you're going to say about Liverpool and Manchester City. Those guys are just making the Premier League interesting.
Well, they're beginning to look like Rivers United and Plateau United. With both teams, as long as they keep winning, things remain the way they are. But for Liverpool, early kick-off tomorrow against Watford. I expect them to do the business. For Manchester City, they've shown that the comfortable lead that they have, somehow they managed to do all of it, but they still have the advantage. I don't think any of them will lose this weekend.
Okay. All right, Austin. Everything is happening in your backyard.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Liverpool. A lot of people feel momentum. It seems to be in their favor.
Yeah. Well, it is Liverpool, you know, and one thing I don't like about Liverpool, they're not used to the breaks. You know, after the breaks, when they come back, they kind of like struggle to get back into reading, and that's why Jurgen Klopp is asking for an intimidating atmosphere by the fans so that they can just do the job against Watford. But Manchester City has also got a tricky tie at Burnley, because if you look at the table, Burnley, they are 19th on the log, and now this is the time to start fighting relegation. Watford is 18th on the log with 22 points. Burnley, they are 19th with 21 points. So you don't want to play Burnley, Watford, Everton, and Leeds United now. You don't want to play them now. It's very tricky. So let's see which of them will get the job done. Is it going to be Liverpool, doing it at home against Watford? But we know Liverpool and the way they lose to some of these smaller teams when you don't expect them to lose. Or can Manchester City show character, go to Burnley and get the job done? But definitely pressure is on both sides.
All right. We'll see what happens. Let's also look at some other very, very interesting fixtures. Chelsea, the manager has been able to be grinding out results. They're coming up against Brentford. Let me go to Alfred quickly. Do you think Chelsea will still be able to hold on to this third spot with just a few matches to play, knowing fully well that the manager is already complaining that his plans for next season is messed up? He's not even thinking of next season because he doesn't know what's going to happen. Do you think they'll still be able to focus, get the job done, and cross the line?
I think for now, Chelsea are doing the business. Brentford is a derby, sort of. Brentford is not one of those teams. Yes, they have a couple of players that can pull the string, but Brentford, for me, is not one of those kind of teams that will put Chelsea under that kind of... Somehow, even the difficult games, somehow they find a way of getting a win. And they know that the more they stick together, and that's what they've done excellently well this trying period with all of the issues happening about Chelsea outside the field of play. That department, the guys on the field have been able to do the business. I think they know that irrespective of what happens next season, they just have to finish well this season and make sure that the team is in the Champions League place. And perhaps off-season, all of the issues will be sorted out. But for now, I think they've stuck together very well and they're getting the results.
All right. Our party shot on the show. Well, he goes to Austin. He probably knows what we don't know. Ralph Rangnick, a lot of people thought he had the magic wand. I thought he was going to turn things around. Now, it looks like top four may not even be possible for Manchester United. Although, of course, Bruno Fernandes has signed an extension to his contract. Maybe that can boost morale. But your thoughts as we wrap things up. Do you think they're talking to Ten Hag, by the way? But do you think anybody right there might be considering allowing Ralph stay?
Maybe because truly he's a manager. But there was so much it came to meet. A lot happened under Ole, particularly with administration, things were going wrong in the back room, the ownership also. I think with decision-making, Ralph is going through so much. The players aren't giving their best. I say it all day, every day, that Manchester United players should be held responsible for what the club is going through. I knew Rangnick was going to struggle, but he was just hoping to use managerial skills, to stabilize everything. Bruno Fernandes signing a contract is a good one. They need to find a way to get back into it. And Leicester City is another tricky encounter, if you look at the table and where Leicester City is. So let's just hope that they will show, more seriousness. They will pick up the objective and give it a strong finish.
All right, we'll see. Time will tell. That's how we have to wrap things up on the show. But first, I want to thank Alfredo Koligwe for his time on the show today. I know he has recovered from what happened to the Super Eagles. Hopefully, we'll do this again some other time.
I don't think so.
No, we'll still go back. As long as we have the Nigerian Premier League, we'll still go back to that.
Okay. All right. Thank you once again. That's the show today. We thank you for allowing us into your living rooms without knocking. It's a privilege we'll never take for granted. We'll see you again next week. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.
It's always a delight to have you join us to talk sports in London. I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember, let's keep talking sports. Bye for now.